Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Oh my goodness, my coach, wow, giving you just a little taste here. Oh my goodness. Let me go back to the quote here. Wow. We're going to watch his press conference here. It's long winded, but you got to like Brian Schottenheimer. He holds no punches here. Wow. Brian Schottenheimer on how to combat a tough defensive line like the ones they'll face across the NFC East. At the end of the day, the best thing you can do for any DL, just pound the frickin' football and just frickin' try to shove it up their ass. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Let's go join this live.
What's up, guys?
What's up is right.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How much would you say you kind of dodged something there with Mr. Guyton?
Yeah, I think, obviously we're pleased that it could have been worse. The process is going on. And what I talked to Tyler about last night a little bit is like, he's had such a great off season. Calvin, it's been such great growth, such great confidence, and now what he has to do is he's got to continue to grow professionally and learn how to attack rehab, no different than how he attacked learning his sets and the different things he's doing, and he's excited about that. And my stance, I'll just be very clear, my stance with guys that are injured, man, is whether they're a couple weeks, a day-to-day thing, the year, man, is like we love them up. We love them up. We communicate with them. We want them around, and so he's going to be here training his ass off. And again, I do feel like we dodged a bullet there.
Medical people telling you he can come back by the opener, week 2, 3. What are they?
Yeah, the timeline's different. Again, I do think that it could be a couple weeks, but again, based on his ability to go and attack this, I think that he'll come back as fast as possible, and that's important.
Nate Thomas, what do you guys like about him?
Yeah, I talked about Nate the other day. He big man, worked his butt off coming back from his injury last year. He's massive. Plays with great length, and I talked to Nate yesterday on the Players' Day off, just walking into the meal.
About 3:35.
I was just telling him, like, nothing changes. Like, play free, play relaxed. You know how to play this game. Like, don't go out there and be, oh, now I'm with the first group, and oh my gosh, I got to do this. That's the wrong way to approach it. Be excited. You get an opportunity to compete, and he'll get the first shot at it. But, when these guys go in, they say, oh, now I'm with the first group, I got to try harder. That whole thing of trying harder, it doesn't work. You usually put pressure on yourself, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go so hard now. And it doesn't work. Just play, man. You get this, and big man, great feet, great length, and powerful.
So DLLS Cowboys. Guy, this was a big camp for him. Certainly, we talked about how he's been out there since the end of the season. How much does this set back his development for year 2, just missing his time in practice?
I think, he's going to control that. We're going to control that as a staff with him. And, we're already starting on doing, certain projects with him. Ramon Chin-Young's already got his reps of all his one-on-one pass, protection, clips and all of his run protection clips. And he's still going to be in the meeting. So, I don't think, it's going to be a huge setback for him. The biggest thing for him is to stay mentally prepared, stay mentally in it. But, there's going to be days that it bothers him and it hurts, and he's going to have to push through, and he'll do that. And like I said, these guys that are dinged up and injured, we're going to love on them. We're going to support them, but they got to do the work. And I think that that's part of a young player understanding how important it is that you attack the rehab and the process that you got to do so you feel good going into hopefully that first game.
Mm-hmm. What has he done to take that step, since where he missed all of that with the injury? And also, would you rotate guys in there, and who are the other guys who would be rotating the left guy?
Yeah, so again, Nate, the power jumps off the film, Clarence. I mean, the power of the man and his body. So the first thing that jumps out at you is the ability to get displacement in the run game. He's able to move the dot, we call it, if that's the guy who the back's reading. He's able to move the dot. But you see a big guy with nimble feet, great length, It'll be good for him and Tyler Smith to be communicating. That's a big part of it. We're all over that every day about the communication. But you'll see Awesome Richards over there some. You'll see Hakeem over there some. We're all about creating competition. But those guys, Awesome and Nate, will get the first couple cracks at it.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. When you look at the injuries you've had the first 6 practices, or whatever it's been, do you look at your practice schedule and say, is that, or is it a lot of just poor luck in some respects?
It's just football, Todd. I mean, you don't sit there and say, oh, well, hey, if we would have done this, we would have done that. Hey, look, our objective is to get on the field and get off. We're going to work. And like I said, we're going to have a physical camp. And we need to have a physical camp. We need to pop and hit and wrap and thud and pads. And, you look at the play with, that happened to Tyler. It was a blitz and just some bodies got tangled up. And that happens in football. You hate to see it. But again, at the end of the day, as you look at it now, it's like, hey, I think we got away with one.
And have you ever been at a training camp where you've been under a tsunami advisory?
No, but I will admit something, that I was a little worried. So I did call Cable last night. I was like, you hear tsunami, you get really worried. So I was like, Cable, we good? He said, yeah, we're okay. So, yeah. Well, yes, hey, that's a great point. How in the hell does Cable know? Why am I taking Cable's word for it? I mean, that's a great point. Must have been tired when I answered that question. I'm going to have to ask him that. He said something about he talked to the local police department or something like that. He just said, you're good. And I was like, okay, good. That's all I wanted to hear. And I was able to go back to sleep. But good point. I need to follow up with him. Who made you a weatherman?
Yeah, I'm Schottenheimer with The Athletic. Going off the injuries, cornerback, just what's your level of concern at that position right now?
Yeah. Again, I think it's an opportunity to find out about some of these young guys. I've been talking about Kyer. I've been talking about his ability to step up and do things, getting Bland back. You go down the list, we're finding out, what does Keemon Hall look like? How does Keemon do moving out? Again, Zion Childress is another young guy that we like. Troy Pride's doing some really good things. And, again, a guy that's really kind of popped over the last couple of days for us is Robert Rochelle. So, again, the injuries happen. And again, you don't want to see injuries. You hate it. You support the guys that are injured and you talk to them about what's the plan to get them back. But it is an opportunity to create competition and build the depth of your roster. And when you play 20-plus games, which is what we're planning on having to play to win the Super Bowl, you're going to need everybody. And someone is going to start in the Super Bowl that was maybe not even on the 53-man roster. That is the nature of pro football today with how big and strong these guys and what a physical and violent game it is. And But again, we're getting some good reps. And it's also, allowing us to do some things defensively that sometimes would happen in a game. What do I mean by that? You might have a bunch of nickel or sub packages in, and then all of a sudden you're down a corner or two, and you have to play more base. Okay, well, let's see how Maris does walking out over the slot. Can he do that, or who is the best person to do that? And so it's good for us to have to adjust, and we do it during practice, even with the scripts. Okay, hey, Shotty, hey, Flus will say, hey, I got to go more base, or I got to go more jumbo with the offense because we're down a tight end or two, and that's what happens on game day when you're limited to the smaller roster.
Lots are made about the energy at practice, and certainly the loud music supports that. But how does slow hand by the pointer sisters fit into that?
Well, if you notice where I put it, it was very well thought out, very calculated. It was during a special teams walkthrough. I did get some looks by the guys, and I just kind of did it wasn't my request. Yeah, it's the cool thing for me when I'm going signing autographs with the fans and stuff, like they're excited, they feel the energy, and our guys feel the energy, not just from the music, but from the fans being out here, from the competition. Like that's the thing that makes training camp fun. I mean, training camp's long, and it's physical and it's demanding, and it's not long days like I remember when I first got into coaching, when you'd have your last meeting end at 10 p.m. and then you'd have to hustle back to grab a beer at staff meeting at 11 o'clock. And then I can always remember this was a Marty Schottenheimer thing. So literally we'd come in, we'd be watching practice film, and the staff meeting would end about 11:15, and he'd say one of two things. He'd say either offense stay, and the defense ran out as fast as they could. They're like, get out here. Or he'd say, defense, stay. And the offensive guys would be like fist pumping under the table, like, yeah, because they knew that the guys that got asked to stay were getting ready to watch the practice all over again.
Did you know slow hand and
Of course. Pointer Sisters, baby. I like the faster paced Pointer Sisters. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm so excited. I like that one. And I just can't. That's my probably favorite Pointer Sisters song. But it was solid choice. Someone from very high up.
Extremely high.
Very high up. But it was played at the right time because it was special teams walkthrough.
Copy.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com. Brian, we've got young guys like Tyler and Caleb who are missing training camp that use the reps and kind of they've had mental blocks last year. How do you try to keep the mental side of their game fresh so that when they can come back, they can play confidence when at times it seemed like they were lacking it last year?
Great question. Number one, they're not rookies anymore. They're year two. They've been exposed to a lot more. They kind of know what it looks like. But I would say the starting point is keep them very, very involved in meetings. Fire questions at them. Keep them involved. Make them check their notes. Hey, let me see your notes from today. Like, what notes did you take? What did you learn? What did you put down? And then, still follow your position. So if you're playing the field corner, Kalen, and let's say Kyer's getting all the reps, like, what did you see? So I'll ask him walking off the practice field, hey, what'd you see? What was a couple plays that Kyer said that you saw? And you got to keep them involved, and then know that they're going through the mental anguish of I'm hurt and it sucks, and I get their frustration. I talked to a number of guys yesterday. I said, hey, this does not define you. You're going to be fine, but the only way you're going to be fine is if you keep attacking the rehab and stay engaged mentally, and that way you're going to pick it up as soon as you get back.
Hey, Coach. Patrick Walter, DallasCowboys.com. Goes without saying your first two opponents are elite on the defensive front and the defensive trenches. When it goes to planning for those guys, do you give your left tackle, be it Guyton coming off of an injury, or Awesome Richards or Nate Thomas, do you give those guys the same trust you have in Cable, or like where does scheming to help those guys come in?
Well, I mean, we obviously have a bunch of time. Honestly, Patrick, I think D-lines in this league are all now elite. You mentioned three in the division that are great, just like ours is. We have tools, but, we don't have to answer that right now. And I'm just excited to watch, Nate, go out there and compete against some elite pass rushers that we have out here. See Awesome compete. And then, again, they're not going to win every rep. They're going to make mistakes, and that's part of practice. And
Not the game.
when we get to the game planning part of it, our system is flexible enough that, we have all the tools that we need to be able to change things up. And at the end of the day, the best thing you can do for any offensive line, any team offense, when you're playing elite defensive linemen is pound the frickin' football, man. Just frickin', try to shove it up their ass. And that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to be physical.
I'm going to leave it right there because I got to tell you, and the press conference goes on for quite a bit longer. But Brian Schottenheimer, he compares to Jason Garrett and Mike McCarthy, is a breath of fresh air. And you like the excitement. I mean, you can see the passion that he has for this, and telling the stories about his dad and what he learned about football is just incredible. So we look forward to another great day of practice, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. I'm Mark Holmes, and as always, I appreciate you. Peace out.